Well, Worlds is over and we are officially in the off season. I am joined right now by Jankos to talk a little bit about how things have gone for him over the past couple of months, and I don't know, any number of different things, because I have not had a chance to interview you yet this year, and I look forward to talking to you every year. So I'm glad you were able to make time for me.
Well, I'm chilling right now. I don't have like anything going on, right? There's like Corona everywhere, so I can't leave my house. So I guess I'm just streaming, and I think interview can be fun. So it's okay.
I'm glad to know you have to be bored and stuck at home before you're willing to take a call from me. That's what I'm picking up on this. You're like, I've got literally nothing better to do.
It's been a while since I talked to like an American person, so it can be fun.
Well, I'm sure you gotta have talked to some Americans at Worlds, right?
No. I mean, I like, I don't really like talk to other teams that much because they are my opponents, not my friends, right? I mean, I know that there's some friendship between like different players, but I don't really think that anyone from NA is like my friend.
Okay.
Not because it's an A, but just because I don't have like friends from an A. So yeah.
I love that our interviews always end with it's always begins and ends with you either very subtly or very, very prominently flaming North America. We're already at that stage. You're already saying you have no friends in North America.
Yeah, but I think maybe it has to change, right? Because I'm getting older and older. I'm like 25 now, so I think I might need friends in North America soon.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Let's see, 26, 27. That's whatever the big offers will hit for you. Well, great. Glad to know we're off to such a great start. No, okay, so let's just kind of recap Worlds a little bit. Just at a very high level, what was your experience like over there, and what do you think of it now that you've had a couple of weeks to reflect on your whole experience with G2 at Worlds?
Well, I mean, I think that going into Worlds, we were like we were actually pretty behind the meta, and just like from the gameplay perspective. And I think that we have been exploring like the carry jungle style in Europe already with Hecarim and Eve with Lucian and some Graves, but it was never like a big thing in Europe, right? We played mostly ganking junglers, but then a lot of the stuff we played got nerfed right before playoffs and Worlds, stuff like Volibear and Set became much, much weaker. So then priority on Kindred, Graves, and Lilia and Hecarim, I suppose, increased a little bit. So I think our first couple of weeks during quarantine and group stage was just mainly focused on adapting to the meta, and then a lot of people talk about why do you adapt to the meta? Why don't you play the tank style? But that's just not how the game works, right? You're supposed to play like the best possible style with the highest chance of winning. And if we think that the Graves whatever style is better, then we will just play that. And of course, in some games you can cheese and you can pull out the non-meta junglers, kind of like Tess and Sunning did in their semi-final, but it does require a lot of bans, and it's not like that often we can see it. And we also had like strats prepared. We would play like Volibear, or we would play Shan, but we just didn't really get a chance to use it. We kind of got stumped against Damwon, right? And we felt like against Damwon maybe it wasn't like the best approach. So yeah, well, it ended up the way it did. But I think that we improved quite a lot the Worlds, and I think we were losing scrims to even TSM when we came to China. But then by the end of the bootcamp, we were winning scrims against both Tess and Sunny. We had like a positive track record against them, which is way different from what it was in 2019. Because even though in 2019 a lot of people were hyping us up, we actually lost like every single game against IG and every single game against FPX. So us being in the final didn't feel like, I mean, it just feels weird, right? Because we were losing so many games yet we were in the final. And this time we're actually winning scrims, and we didn't beat Damwon, which was, by far the best team on the tournament. But I think the G2 that we saw in playoffs and the G2 we saw by the end of Worlds, I think like we actually got so much better. So maybe if we had 2 more weeks, maybe we could change something. Because this is the style that Damwon played throughout the whole summer split, and it really fit them well. Meanwhile, for us, we didn't play until the World started, and we can kind of only like blame ourselves. But it also is dependent on the fact that a lot of the champs that we played got nerfed just before Worlds, and no hard feelings to Riot Games. But if they ever want to see like a Western team win Worlds, maybe they should like make the meta easy or something.
Well, Well, to be clear, I'm not sure if they do want a Western team to win Worlds. I think it goes very well for them when China wins. So I'm a little worried for you on perhaps your bargaining or negotiation options with Riot for that. Um, do you think that you could have beat Suning? Do you think that you guys were possibly the second best team at Worlds?
Well, I do think we could beat Tess. About Suning, we did play 3 games in total. We lost 2 of them. So I think facing against them would be like pretty interesting because I believe they are a very strong team as well. And I think they had a chance against Damwon. And I feel like their performance against Damwon was actually better than our performance. Like their games were way closer and it felt like it was like kind of toe to toe. Even though Damwon was always winning and they were like throwing games, then still it felt like Sunning like could keep up better than we did. But if we would face Sunning in a BO5 in the semi-final, I would be pretty confident that we can take them down.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of my question because I knew that you said you kind of felt like you were getting better over the course of the tournament. So it would have been interesting to see if there was some sort of losers bracket or something, if you would have been able to face off against them. But I mean, how satisfied are you with the performance of G2 at Worlds? Because I know it's like if you don't win, then you can't ever be truly satisfied. But given sort of the crazy year that we're in, given how G2's performance was interesting over the course of this year, how happy are you with the results that you ended up with at Worlds?
Well, I mean, I think it was not great, right? Of course, the goal was to win, and it's like pretty sad that we couldn't make it like second year in a row with the same roster. And I feel like, I mean, it is very disappointing and it really sucks, but we almost didn't make playoffs in Summer Split. I am not sure if all the fans followed, but we had like a lot to go through. Like our team overall, like some of our players had a lot going through in their lives during Summer Split, and we also took a lot of breaks, and we almost didn't make playoffs. And then after we made playoffs, we lost to Fnatic. We had to win from the loser bracket, and then in the end, we were still the champion, and we had to adapt a lot. And it was our decision to take the split slightly easier, or the year, because last year we were really burned out at Worlds. And again, we didn't win a single game against the Chinese teams. This year we have been winning a lot, and it felt like we are actually improving so fast at Worlds. So I'm very, very satisfied with how the year overall went. There are things I would change. I mean, of course, there is like, maybe we could play slightly more in Summer Split so that we don't have to sweat that hard by the end of Summer Split. But I mean, yeah, the fact that we still won 2 splits in Europe and we showed like a decent performance at Worlds is somewhat satisfying. And again, we lost to the winner. So I feel like every year, if there's not one team, maybe we could win. Like if last year there was no FPX, if 2 years ago there was no IG, if this year there was no Damwon, I always feel like there's this one team that just beats us and then we just can't win. But yeah, I mean, it is still painful, and there is still like a lot to think about and take take away so that we can be better next year. But I think like Scream wise and how we approached the year, it felt so much more satisfying and so much better because we just didn't get burned out, and we were still hungry. And after we lost, we still wanted to play, even though it was over. And last year it was like so difficult to play games and discuss games because it was way worse. I think the atmosphere.
Do you think that this Worlds felt like a real Worlds? Because especially just given the fact that there was no audience or whatever, did Riot do a good job of making it feel that way, or did it feel not like a normal Worlds to you? Did it feel like the stakes were lower or it was different or anything?
I mean, I think the tournament itself was the same. Maybe the only difference is that we didn't really travel because normally when NA teams wouldn't know that by day, but normally when you make it out of groups, you have to travel to different cities.
Yes. I've heard about this.
When you travel to different cities, you have to, sometimes you get sick because of the plane, right? And you have to change hotels and less time to practice because there's also media days. So I actually liked it a lot. I was in one city in Shanghai, and I mean, except for the fact that we had to go through quarantine for 2 weeks, which of course is justified. I think Worlds were pretty fun, and I think they felt like pretty much the same as any other year.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel like this year doesn't matter or this year is different. Of course, I would prefer to have audience, but I'm really glad that in such a crazy year, we were able to play on stage. Meanwhile, the Spring Split playoffs and the whole Summer Split was played online, right? So I was really, really happy that we could at least play offline on a stage.
I don't know if it's the software that we're using or if it's your microphone, but the volume is kind of spiking a little bit up and down. So we'll keep an eye on it. I think it's mostly okay, but if it keeps happening, we'll try to figure out some sort of solution.
I have no clue, honestly.
Yeah, it's fine. No, I mean, it's good to hear that you feel like Riot did a good job, or at least that the event still felt real, especially given sort of the constraints that were put on it. It sounds like you watched the finals.
I did watch some of the games. Yes, I didn't. I don't think like I didn't really want to watch it because I was so mentally like I was so mad. But then it was still like kind of fun, so I watched like most of the day.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting to me because I do know there's this weird kind of fascination that so many players have whenever they get so close to winning and then they don't make it with the end, where it's like they really want to see what it looks like, but then they're also salty and they're like, I don't want to watch this. So it's interesting to sort of hear that mirrored in your situation. What do you think? Okay, so I'm not going to ask you at all about any of the G2 stuff because I know that I'm not going to put you in the position of trying to talk about these G2 rumors, but what do you think of the off-season rumors that we've heard so far, with different players going different places and anything? Is there anything that was surprising to you?
To be honest with you, I don't really like follow that much, so you have to like give me specifics.
So Alfari to North America, for instance, is a pretty good example. He's reported to be joining Team Liquid by ESPN. That's pretty sure.
I mean, I think that like it makes sense. Wait, which team he was going to?
Team
Was
Liquid.
it Cloud9 or Team Liquid? Okay, so I think it makes sense, I guess, because Alfari is considered like pretty strong player. I don't actually know. I mean, he's more of a carry player than Impact, and I'm not sure why are they getting rid of Impact. But it does seem like he was underwhelming in some of their games, so I guess that's the reason.
Well, his contract is up too, so maybe he wants to hit free agency. It might not be a decision on their part, but
well. I mean,
yeah.
If your contract from the player point of view, if your contract is up, that's like the best case to change a team because, well, you don't have to get sold. That means you can negotiate really good salary. So and I assume Impact doesn't really like care anymore because he's playing in NA anyway. So I assume that he'll just negotiate a good salary.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know why I always do this. I don't want to do this. Like I love NA, man. I love it. So just give me work. Like 2 years ago from now or something.
I mean, that's the problem. Is everything you were saying right now, I'm just going to cut into a compilation in 2 years and release it. It'll just only be from my interviews, but it'll just be a 9-minute montage of you saying people who go to NA don't care anymore, and it's just gonna look really bad for you.
It's true. Like I think like my future employee, like if I ever retire if I ever go to NA to play League of Legends, I think my future employee, if like he would watch it, he'll be like pretty pissed off.
Yes.
But maybe it will not happen. Maybe I'll just stay in G2 until I retire like completely, and then I become a streamer. So we'll see, I guess.
Yeah. Is that what Alfari is doing? Is he retiring in NA?
No, I mean, I think joining Team Liquid is like good in a way where you can still fight for the trophy. I think normally when like people go to like mediocre NA teams, that's like kind of worse, right? Because normally they just go for salaries, which I don't actually blame them because I saw the rumors about Jensen signing for $4.2 million 3 years. I mean, damn, like like I see why people like to play in NA, and I still think it's a competition and you can still be the best, right? So if you are still competing on the highest national level, not exactly international level, then it's still fine. So I think like makes sense, like TSM, I guess Team Liquid, Cloud9, all these three teams are like most likely fighting for the trophies most of the time. Then there's also FlyQuest, which was, I guess, better this year than usual. So I think, if you join a strong team, makes a lot of sense. But I'll not say names, but I mean, not all the other teams are always that competitive.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I'm trying to remember how we got on this. Oh yeah, so Alfari to Team Liquid. So the rumor is, so it's been pretty people are pretty confident that Alfari is joining TL. Jensen, I reported, and I'm pretty confident Jensen is re-signing. Corey J and Tactical is supposed to stay, and then a lot of people assume Santorin will be taking that jungle position. So I'm kind of curious, just while we're on the topic of Team Liquid, since you played against these guys, one fun question is, do you think that lineup would have gotten out of groups potentially?
No, because we were in that group.
I was curious. I was curious to see if you would notice that.
I mean, I'm sorry to say, but if they change, if they add Alfari and Santorin, I don't think it changes much.
Yeah.
I think they will lose to us. That being said, they did win a game, so it's not like it's difference. But I just think, okay, in a BO5, I'm like confident 1% of the time we would win. But in like a case where it's like a BO1, it's like very flippy, right? And the game we lost, you just got cheesed. So that's just excuse, by the way. They were better, but we also got cheesed, and we got cheesed a lot at Worlds in group stage. I guess cheesing is so OP. Some games just ended literally level 1. But I mean, I would still be very confident taking down Team Liquid with that roster. That being said, I do think they will be stronger with Santorin and Alfari. I don't know how much stronger, but I think they should be slightly stronger. I also heard rumors that like Broxa and Jensen didn't really cooperate with each other in like on the best terms. Which is quite weird because they are both Danish, I guess. But maybe Jensen doesn't remember that because he's, playing in the NA for so long.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. Yeah, I mean, personally, I feel like Broxa was not a bad player in Europe, and I don't think he was like performing bad in NA. But maybe they just don't fit each other well, and I think mid jungle like kind of needs to be on good terms for team to make it work.
I'm American, but there are other Americans I don't get along with. So I'm just saying, it's not, in my experience, just somebody being from the same country as you, not necessarily going to be a thing where you immediately like them.
It's true, but sometimes from my experience, let's say Americans like mostly like speak English, right? But like, let's say the whole team speaks English in Team Liquid, but Broxa and Jensen can also speak in Danish. That could bring you closer together when you speak in like your own language than when you like use like the language you learned, right?
Sure.
Probably Jensen, doesn't really mind. I mean, like no one of us really minds. Like I also talk English to most of the Polish people if we are in public, but if we are like separate, like one-on-one, I would always talk Polish. So yeah, who knows? I mean, they just didn't fit as players, I suppose.
So going back to the TL thing though, so it's worth remembering that TL was very, very close to forcing a 3-way tiebreaker for first place in that group. And in fact, if you guys hadn't lost, I think it would have happened, right? So, and admittedly, if TL had not lost that first game that they played, that would not have happened. So, I mean, that's just the thing that raises my question is like, if this team is just slightly better, do they at least get that challenge for the 3-way tie? And
okay. I mean, it's hard to say because, again, a lot of the games were just like lost in draft level 1. So I'm not sure if they would like hardly deserve the tiebreaker because they just didn't because they lost enough games. Of course, again, like they did beat us, right? So, but they still lost to like the wildcard team, and they did beat Suning, and we kind of like really hard grieved the first game, and they were very, very mad because the first game was like so grieved, and the second game was at least like even. But I can tell you that if Alfari Santorin would be in that team and the team would be in TSM group, I think Team Liquid could get out of the TSM group.
Okay. Thank God. Maybe next year we'll have a team get out. This is good news. By the way, when you guys went into that game and you knew that like you were Team Liquid's chances or hopes or whatever, did you even think about that at all? Or did you even know about it when you went into that match?
Yeah, of course. That's why we picked Senna and ran it down. We were aware. We didn't think about it too much because we play for ourselves, and if we win, we secure the #1 seed, and that was the goal, right? So we were still like sweating for it so that we can be first seed. But we tried something that we didn't really practice much, and it's not because we hate NA, it's just because we tried it and it didn't work, and then they still did beat us in a fair game when we were like trying very hard. So they were just the better team, right? And Suning was, I guess, supposed to leave the group as the first seed.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. I will. I'll let it slide.
But now, think about it. Like everyone like was hyping up Tess, but I would actually prefer to be on the other side of the bracket. So if I could change the path, I would probably choose to be first seed. I mean, I wouldn't choose because again they were better. But if I could, I would. It's just a hindsight bias. And we maybe would still lose the final to Damwon. But yeah, I mean, goddamn.
Yes. No, I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that could have happened. I mean, your group in particular is just, it's crazy to think that like Suning made it to the finals and you guys made it to semifinals where you lost against the tournament winner. I just feel like the Team Liquid players should just be like, what the hell? Like, it's just so a crazy group. Anyway, talking about other stuff. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else on the EU offseason side that would be particularly interesting. Actually, I want to ask your opinion on the proposed format changes to LCS, because I don't know, LEC fans, please bear with me, but this is really interesting. So you probably have not heard this because you said you don't pay attention to this stuff, but the rumor is that Riot is planning on changing LCS to be no longer spring split. It's just all one season. Each of the teams play each other 5 times instead of 4, and there are 3 full days of games. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, presumably with like 5 games each day. There is a kickoff tournament at the start of the year, and then there's still like a spring tournament to see who qualifies to MSI, but it's not necessarily it's not the same way it is right now where it's like you win spring split. It's just a tournament that sends you to MSI. So those are the supposed changes that they're going to be making. I'm kind of curious, as an LEC player, what do you think of that?
I think it sounds pretty good because, I mean, spring split doesn't matter much except for, I guess, going to MSI. So as long as they make a tournament, like pretty much like playoff-based tournament where you still like choose a team to go to MSI, like you choose who is like your mid-season best team, and then that person goes to MSI, and then the season continues after. I think that's pretty good because I feel like some of the wins you get throughout the spring split, they don't really like, no one really cares about it, and you don't even like get that much. Like this year, for example, in Europe, I think we were first in spring split, and there was no MSI, and then only thing that spring split gave us was 70 points or something, which in theory did make us like top 2 team after we qualified in like top 3.
Yeah.
So it like did boost us 1 seed, but if you would not, it wouldn't like give us anything because there is no gauntlet anymore. So I don't really know. I feel like one season where like everything matters would be so much more fun. That being said, I really like LAC playoff bracket. Yes. Like I really like the double lose thingy, and where like each team can play so many times. I really like that. But I think like if they would combine 2 seasons into one, where like spring split actually gets so much more valuable because you cannot just like take it easy, and teams that perform very well in spring split don't just lose it by the spring split resetting. And basically, if you don't really go to MSI in spring split, then the whole split just doesn't matter at all to you because it's all about worlds where it resets. So I think it'll be pretty fun. I would like that.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the assumption that what the response I'm seeing from everybody. Everybody seems to really like these changes. So we'll have to see if they go through. What do you think of the idea of the kickoff tournament, though? Like if LEC, for instance, started and there was like a 2-week little tournament at the start to sort of test all the rosters, and I don't know.
Yeah, what is that though? Like, what is a kick?
So yeah, I don't know the full details on it, but the idea is that everyone will play in this like 10-team tournament that just kicks off the start of the year. And my latest guess is that they will the results of this will be used to determine side selection, because there's 5 games that are played, and so if you think about it, one team will have side selection. But yeah, it's just sort of a way of getting the teams to. My guess is it's like a cool way to sort of start the year. Is like you get an immediate guess on what everybody's strength is.
I think it could be fun, I guess. I mean, I don't think it would like matter that much, I guess, because the whole season is going to be very long and you will play different teams multiple times. And I feel like it just gives you a reason to even practice more in off-season, but I feel like off-season should be spent mainly resting, as the year is very, very long, especially if you go to MSI and Worlds. The year can be like 9-10 months long, where you play like 12 hours a day every day. So, Asian teams do it a lot, and I think Asian players do get like burned out a lot, like faster than Western players. But that being said, we never win and they do, so maybe it's better. But yeah, I think the kickoff tournament could be fun. But I don't really think it will matter. Like even if you get side selection, I don't think it's really gonna matter. But I think it will be like very fun to watch for the viewers. And as a player, I wouldn't mind because I just get more like games to play, right? So I wouldn't really mind it, but I don't think it would like make a difference.
Yeah. That was my other question. Is I know G2 obviously has talked a lot about burnout, and it's a big conversation, I think, behind the scenes, not as much in front of the scenes. But do you think a world where you are playing potentially 3 games instead of 2 each week, because there's 3 full days of games, do you think that would be really rough for you guys? Would you not be enjoying playing more games on stage?
No, I think it will be good. I think more games is good. But maybe sometimes playing 2 games a day would be better than playing 3 days in a row, because when you play 3 days in a row, there's like so much. Well, if it's online, you don't really travel, right? But like our journey to LAC studio takes like 30 minutes, 40 minutes by car.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we still have to come back and do interviews, and we have to like arrive there a certain time before the game and blah, blah. So it takes like 4 or 5 hours sometimes. Like, okay, maybe I kind of over exaggerated, but like 3-4 hours. So I feel like it would be fine if we would just play more games daily, but not necessarily like 3 days in a row. But 3 days is also fine. I think we did this like we somewhat did this this year, I think, or didn't we? I know we had super weeks. I don't remember exactly how it worked like.
Clearly a sign of the burnout. You don't even remember how your year went and how the schedule goes.
No, but I personally, I do like more games. So I would like more games, but I just think there should be like a sufficient break between like stuff. So normally when you finish and you go to the final like a week after like the season starts, so it's very, very hard to like have any kind of breaks. So I'm not sure if like breaks in the middle, like for example Rift Rivals, I'm so happy it's gone because it was so useless. And if you still want like a week off, you can just have a week off, but not like a shit tournament that doesn't matter, that doesn't like benefit anyone and doesn't have any rewards. If you win or lose, you just get jet lag because you have to travel, like either or which team, right? So I feel like as long as a team is willing to take enough breaks, and as long as you don't go like too hard, like you can play 3 games a week, but you don't have to like practice like 4 days a week, you know. You can practice like 3 days and you can still have like 1 day off, and you can like make a healthy schedule around it, where basically by the end of season you still like are willing and you're still hungry to play and not completely devastated and just like you just want to end your career or something.
Yes, joined in A maybe.
Yeah, look at Alfari.
Yes. You mentioned Rift Rivals. I always liked Rift Rivals a lot, even though I understood it was a useless tournament and it was terrible for you guys to have to fly over here for 1 week. But it was always fun to see you guys. And it reminds me, by the way, Alfari tweeted something like decisions. This was weeks ago before it was reported he was joining TL. And I tweeted back at him and I said, by the way, our weather is so good and just wait until you try the food. And Veteran replied and was like, imagine telling a European that they should be happy about food or whatever. I feel like I did an interview with you at Rift Rivals, or maybe it was one of your teammates, where you guys said like the food in North America is so good, or at least in LA. Was that you? Do you remember if it was you?
Yeah, I think the food in LA is really good. I like the food. I mean, so I think your fast food is way better, like burgers and like barbecue and all of this. Like, I think this is like really good. I think, you know, like the healthy stuff is like pretty much the same. But I also feel like since LA is like maybe like a capital of like I think like the western side of America, you have like all these crazy good restaurants, and you pretty much have like every cuisine, which is similar to Berlin, but I feel like in LA you have like way, way, way more of it, and most likely like the Asian food is so much better from like the places I have been to, and the sushi as well. So I know, I feel like, and like Los Angeles at least, I think food is really crazy good. So yeah. I really liked it there, like the food.
Why would an LEC pro come to LCS?
I mean, money, food, probably, maybe girls. I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying I would. I'm saying someone would. And well, you can still compete again, right? You can still compete, and maybe you wanted to like, for example, when I was a child, I really wanted to live in America, or I really wanted to try being American. If like as weird as it sounds, because I always liked Halloween and I liked American movies. So I was like, wow, America is so cool. Well, now Halloween? Learning more about the world, I'm not like so much into America anymore.
I mean, our standing is falling internationally, I think. But wait, did you say you really liked Halloween?
Yeah, it's so cool, no?
I know. I mean, I love Halloween too. This year it sucked because I couldn't, we can't do anything. But I think it's really amazing that you as a kid were growing up and you're like, Halloween is amazing. I want to be American. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean it just sounds fun because I never got to do. Actually, I did like celebrate Halloween one time when I was a child, and I was like walking at like a countryside, and people there, it was like a small village where my family is from, so people there were like fine with this and they were aware of it, but like normally in big cities you don't really do it. But like the idea of doing it in like America, like where like everyone celebrates it and you can just like go around, collect candies and like wear like weird outfits, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, now I'm kind of old, so I probably wouldn't go around collecting candies. I would probably just go drink in like a costume. So it's like maybe slightly more boring, but as a kid, I really like the idea at least.
Oh man, I really hope that eventually all of you guys on G2 end up in LCS. You guys are so great to interview. The press conferences, I just want to say, those press conferences are amazing. Even when you guys lose, you give amazing press conferences. Like fucking the other teams, especially like the LCK and LCK and LPL teams, they will win. And if you watch those press conferences muted, you would think that they lost. Like they just seem so somber and serious, and like maybe it's just a cultural difference that I don't understand. It's probably very likely, but like I just really love how fun you guys all are to interview and talk to, and I'm envious that LEC has you guys because you're so fun to talk to. You're so out there. I mean, the fact that you guys just trash talk so much in these press conferences is amazing. It's just all the wonder quotes I was able to put up on Twitter and to get massive social engagement for was hilarious.
I mean, I think, yeah, it's pretty funny because we are like really open-minded and honest, and we're really cocky. But also something to add is that I feel like, yeah, I mean that the Asian players normally like the questions always go to the coach, and I feel like they just don't like really talk that much, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe like you mentioned, maybe it's cultural. But yeah, for us, I think we are just chilling. So
yes, you're just
actually,
chilling.
I really wanted to say something and I forgot. And what I said was not what I wanted to say, but now I don't remember what I wanted to say. God damn it!
I'm sorry. What was it? We were talking about you guys doing so many interviews, about all of you guys coming to LCS. So that was my big hope, is that eventually all 5 of you guys make it over here. Do you any chance?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know, right? But that's, yeah, it's fine. I mean, maybe we'll see, right? I think if we do end up on like different teams.
Yeah.
And I almost had this thought, but it's disappeared again.
Oh no.
Okay, never mind. You can continue.
Well, I mean, we're wrapping up anyway, so maybe you'll message me later. But I to be clear, like I love the G2 story. LEC fans or whatever sometimes get angry at me, but I really love the G2 team. I really love the G2 story. So I hope you guys continue to play and eventually win, Worlds and lift a trophy. But when retirement comes, I would love to see you guys hang out over here, collect a bunch of cash and chill. And you and I can go to great food restaurants in LA.
Yeah,
yes.
Food is actually like so good. I remember now slightly. I want to say that like when we lost and we had questions from LPL media, the questions were like, in my opinion, like very bad because they were like very targeted at specific situations in game and not like overall like the team feeling.
Yeah.
And I remember questions asked to Perix about, hey, so you guys, at 4 minutes in like game 3, you dived Ghost bot lane and you got double killed. Was like the thought process? Or hey, Caps Akali game 3, you were camping 2 minutes in the cracks bush and then you died. Was the thought process? Like,
yes.
It just feels like very targeted at like players, it feel like they were basically flaming us. So maybe like LPL players at least are so like just like washed up because like by the questions, because they're like, okay, they will flame us or something.
Yes.
But maybe that's why I feel like sometimes the Western media have like more normal questions, I suppose. And I also watched like a one interview from 369 where he was also answering just like yes or no. He was literally like the interviewer would talk for like 20 seconds and he would just say one like 2 words. So, but there are players like that as well. I heard Nuguri gives great answers, so yes. Maybe you should try to interview him.
I did interview him, and he did give great answers. It was really cool. I talked to him right before the finals, so it's true.
Me?
What's that?
What, better than me?
I mean, it's difficult. His is translated. I mean, here, let's put it this way: if it makes
that's it. That's just it. No,
if it makes you feel better. Okay. You might have done better in this interview. However, he did win Worlds, so I feel like this is.
Okay, that's pretty biased. I mean, so you probably like interviewing me more than like all the NA region. So why are you even there? Maybe you should just like fly over to Europe and just interview the European players.
Listen, if Europe had the money and the food and the weather, also, I mean, the Berlin weather is not. I'm not a huge fan. So but I would consider a stint in Europe for a while if it made sense, especially because it's just been really fun to see G2 and Fnatic as two teams over there that just are really fun. Is there anything you want to say to any fans out there?
Well, I'm very grateful, of course, for everyone that you were cheering and supporting us throughout the whole year, which was pretty difficult, and I hope that you will keep cheering and supporting throughout the 2021. Sometimes it's like sad to hear that the carry meta is not G2 meta. I don't really think it's like targeted at me, but like, I mean, that's like kind of feel this way sometimes. But yeah, I mean, we all tried, including me, tried our best, and yeah, another year we didn't make it, but yeah, we can keep trying, right, until we retire or go to NA, either.
Yes, well, one and the same, perhaps. Either way, thank you so much, Jankos, and I really do appreciate you making the time to talk to me, because I love interviewing with G2 players, so I'm glad we could find the time. I do appreciate it, even if you're just bored as hell. And that's the only reason you were.
Oh no, I was not. I was streaming. I was enjoying myself, and right now I'm very hungry, so I'll probably just go eat. So
okay, yeah, I've got to go as well. So either way, thank you so much for the interview, Jankos. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, feel free to check out my sponsor, Alienware. There's a link in the description below. You can use code Travis10OFF-Q3, or maybe if that doesn't work, try Travis10OFF-Q4. We're switching it up. To save 10% off your order. Maybe get an amazing computer like this one, which has an NVIDIA 3080 in it. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel. We love you. Bye.